Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Behind Her Brand Monday Morning Brew. Today, I got one of my favorite mugs. So very blessed. Um, and I wanted to share something very briefly about this mug, before I jump into what I wanted to cover today, because, you know, so often when people say, "Oh, my life is so blessed and everything's great," it can seem like there's nothing going on. And I will tell you, when I saw this morning, I thought, no, things are not perfect in my life. Things are not like horrible, but I still feel very blessed. I feel very blessed for the husband that I have and our children that we have, our home that we're building, my family, my friends. And it made me just pause and think that so often we have to remember, even if things are not all perfect, we can still find reasons to show, not show gratitude, but just say, you know what, I'm blessed because of this. I'm blessed because I'm here today. We see on the news every day someone dying, someone passing away. We see a plane, this car crashes, and when we just pause and just start our day with just thinking, I am blessed because today I was able to eat, I was able to wake up, I was able to have running water, I was able to do this, that, and the other. I have good people in my life. Like when you stop and really think about that, it can start your day a little differently, because we can always make an endless list of things that are not happening, or things that we don't have, or things that we feel that we're not blessed by. We can always do that. But the list that's more, I think, shifting, more powerful is the one when we wake up and say, I am really blessed in spite of. I am blessed because of. Um, so I just wanted to share that. Just made me think about that. But today's brew is going to be a little bit different and also just a little brief, because today I want it to be more of hearing you. I want to hear more of your tips and things that are going to be related to what I'm getting ready to share. So the other day I saw a very sad display of two women I really, 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 really respect a lot going at each other online. And it was over some political beliefs and things of that nature. And then we all saw as a nation what happened with the two presidents and the conflict, and there's been a lot of dialogue around that. And I don't want to talk about that per se, but what I did want to bring up is, when I started thinking about the different conflicts that are happening, I started looking at women in the business community and how we talk community, we talk sisterhood, but the truth of it is there's sometimes where there's conflict, sometimes there's things that happen. And the side of it that I wanted to talk about today, and would love to hear from some of your experience and some of your expertise in these areas, is oftentimes when we are in situations that are uncomfortable, things that we may not realize how we're coming off, or maybe we're engaged in something that just doesn't end well, or what have you. Oftentimes we self-reflect. We stop and we pause and say, okay, what did I contribute to this? What did I do? And I'm going to share an example of something that happened to me, but I would love to hear from you all, just kind of prefacing what I'm going to ask you or discuss today. Is I would love to know, when times when you self-reflected, was there a trait or something that you worked on, and how did you work on that, and provide tips? Because we have business women, we have nonprofit leaders, community leaders, we have at-home moms, we have a lot of different people that are watching these brews, and people are always asking for advice, even offline. Like, how do you work on patience? How do you work on um, exercising your voice more? How do you work on not being so um, conflict avoidant? How do you work on these different things? And if you have worked on different things as an amazing leader that you are, I would love to hear a little bit about that, and share some tips. Because I will tell you briefly, my own journey with this was, I have a very good friend, very, very good friend. Many, many years ago, we had a mutual person in our life who intentionally caused a break in our friendship. Um, and I'm gonna tell you that that break crushed me deeply. Um, and I don't want to go into too many specifics and everything, because she and I want to share our story actually sometime this year. But it crushed me, and then I later learned how it crushed her. We both actually were depressed, um, and what this person did was so, I'm just gonna say evil, just evil. She made each of us think something. And here's the thing: as close as we were, as tight as we were, we equally both trusted this person too. Never ever thinking this person would plant seeds of lies. Okay, and we had a break in our friendship for a while, and then God opened the door to where truth was shown to both of us, and we met lots of tears, lots of apologies, but what we both realized too is that we also had a lot of growth. I realized, even though this was a friendship, this was also someone I did business with. This is someone that we launched multiple projects together. We lived life together. I mean, she was in my home, I'm in her home. Like we just did everything together. And what I realized at that time in my life, I was very avoidant of conflict. If I even thought there was an inter conflict, I would back away, retreat, or I would try to over people please so that it can cover the pending conflict coming my way. I did not like arguing. I did not like anything that felt uncomfortable. And some of that just came from, truthfully, I was in an abusive relationship in college. And so I didn't realize at the time, but that was some of the residue from that. And she too was involved in something in her youth. And so it caused us both to have very similar conflict avoidant personalities. We are not that way now. We can handle tough things. We can handle hard conversations now. But when we both self-reflected and didn't realize it too, when our friendship broke, we each were self-reflecting, what could I have done differently, and kind of going through that process. And then when we got together again, we realized we had grown, that we could have this conversation, because even in getting back together, we both had said back then that conversation would have been kind of hard to have as well, because it would have raised too much emotions for each of us. And so we saw how much we grew, and how much in that growth has parlayed into how we show up in our personal and professional lives now, where we can approach hard situations and hard conversations, but we had to do the work. And for me in particular, I had people in my life that held me accountable. If something hard came up, instead of retreating, I stepped into it. And it wasn't easy, but I learned to step into hard things. I learned to step into hard conversations. Um, I also made sure that did not um, I did not dishonor myself in those conversations by like there's a saying in business, we all heard it, that the customer's always right. And I personally don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that they're always right, because that's not the truth. There's times when they are wrong, and it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be like, no, this is this. You can have that kind of exchange in business, but I learned that the most because of that situation, and I've been able to handle situations because of that. And so I would love to hear from you. Maybe being conflict avoidant wasn't your thing. Maybe it was being patient. Maybe it was fighting through how you saw yourself. Maybe it was another leadership trait of um, leading too passively, or maybe leading more assertively, and maybe people didn't like that, or they do like that, or whatever it might be, but things that you had to walk through and learn. I would love to hear from some of you about traits that you've had to walk through and tips that you had to do to work through that. And I'm going to end on this. One of the reasons why I think this is such an important discussion to have amongst women in business is because far too often there's a stigma, a stereotype, if you will, that women are catty, women are messy, women can't get along, women can't do this, women can't do that. And I just don't believe that. When I wanted to step into building community, well, let me clarify that. God really put that on my heart, build community, build community. And when I started to step into that, I did not want that to be the stigma of our culture for Behind Her Brand. I wanted to be very honest and very real. I wanted women to feel like they can be free and transparent. But I did not want the culture of cattiness, and that if there's hard conversations that we can't have them. So when I look at what's happening in our state, of people like losing relationships because of beliefs and different things, and all the different areas here, it makes me just stop always and say, okay, let me self-check to make sure that if I'm amongst these different conversations, how am I showing up, and how am I leading? How am I coming off? Where can I improve? What can I do differently? Do I need to reshift some boundaries? Do I need to do this differently? I think self-reflection is so vital for growth. So that all being said, I would love to hear what you've had to work through and tips that you can offer and share. And let today be a good day maybe for us to just flood the comments with some really good things that we can learn from each other. And also add, if there's a book a podcast, maybe there's scriptures, maybe there's something that you've read, done, listened to, or what have you, that has allowed you to continue to sharpen and grow yourself professionally and personally. So I cannot wait to see the different comments below, and I look forward to reading what you all share, because I just believe that we can continue to be a community that really does help and build one another. All right, ladies, I'll talk to you soon, and I hope you guys have a very blessed day.